Mara, sorry you couldn't be with you for the weekend, but it's Becky's birthday on Saturday, and we were planning on coming back and stopping in Savannah, but it just didn't work out with some of the family problems we have back home. So anyhow, happy anniversary, if we're going to call it that. I can't believe it's been 40 years. You're not that old, but that's okay. You came to work for us as a teenager, I guess. But Kevin and I were talking. He had a few questions about INPACT and CPA-MS, which is what it used to be. And it might be interesting just to tell you, the group, a little bit about how it all started. So, Kevin, what was your question?
Well, I guess that would be my question. You know, I have a pretty good understanding of how INPACT originated and how it's grown over the years, but for a lot of our members, they don't know the story, and I thought you have the unique perspective to be able to tell that story. So how did this, whose brainchild was it? I know you were one of the founders, but maybe you can just give us a little history, early history.
Okay, well, the early history was that I guess 45 years ago, I attended a conference in Williamsburg with Don Scholl, who taught a week-long class for the ASCPA on management for results. It was outstanding, and we had like 10 partners from different firms across the country that met with him for a whole week on how to manage a firm and how to get it started, how to grow it. And it was outstanding, and we had a lot of good dialogue between the partners. And Don then also had created a thing that he would have a reunion of those partners every now and then so they could get together again and explain and show how the things have changed. Our group was a little bit small, so we never had a reunion. Then David Bork, who was another management consultant that worked for, who lived in Frederick, who worked with our firm a lot on helping it grow with its management and leadership problems. And the two of them were completely opposite. But the two of them together did a great job on working with CPA firms. So anyhow, the idea came up, and David Bork and I happened to be in Miami one time, and Don Scholl was down there for something, and they didn't know each other. I said, how about get together, let's have a drink. So just by chance, at the Brown Pelican in Key Biscayne, we were sitting out there on the terrace having a drink, and we got talking. And I said, you know what, it would be great if we formed an organization that could take care of some of the small firms like we were that wasn't large enough to have its own reunion group, that we could start a group of small firms who would like to get together and share all their experiences. And after a while, the more we drank, I guess, the better it sounded. So the net result was that we formed CPA-MS, which was the original company formed. It was a private corporation formed by the three of us to give consulting seminars to CPAs across the country. Those particularly that were too small to have their own management for results reunion group. So it got started just by accident, I guess, but it worked.
How were the firms selected?
Don Scholl, who had David Bork didn't have much expertise with CPA firms. Don Scholl had a great reputation and still does for working with CPA firms. So he knew them all over the country. So he handpicked the firms that he wanted to invite to the groundbreaking, if you want to call it that. The first meeting was in Las Vegas, and we probably had 10 or 15 CPA firms that attended. Then we had another in, I think, Minneapolis or someplace where David Bork started out, and another 10 or 15. And as a result of those two startup seminars, probably 15 or 20 firms joined what was be called the CPA-MS management group, and that's what got us started. Now, Mara, I hope you remember all that, because for everyone who didn't know, Mara was working for our firm as the receptionist, and when we needed something done, she got the assignment, so she ended up being the secretary of the new corporation, and it's worked out extremely well.
What was Mara like to work with 40 years ago as a teenager?
Just like she is today, outstanding, and we had some interesting board meetings because David and Don were two separate personalities. If, in fact, if any of the other INPACT members are still members that was part of the old group, they would share that story. But for the first 10 years, we got along fine together. But then, as the time went on, the group wanted to be in control, rather than having it all controlled by Don and David. So that's what happened. I think it was in the Seattle meeting that we had, and the group agreed to take over the responsibility of managing the firm. And
so I guess
it works very well.
That's when it moved from being a private corporation to an actual association.
Yes, governed by the members, and Mara then, of course, knew more about it than anyone else, so she became the director. And interesting how she became full-time is that she worked for our firm, and Mara, you'll remember this, we were at a conference in Disney World when you got the word that you were trying to adopt a baby, and it came through, and one of the conditions of the adoption was that you could not work for like the first year. So you left our firm in order to take care of the new child, and when you came back to work, you did more for CPAMS and INPACT than you did for our firm. So it's worked out extremely well.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
And the rest is history. It's worked out extremely well, and I think it's a fact. It's so good that you're so diverse and all over the country. Where if you need help, there was always another firm who had your problem previously, and they're willing to share all their experiences and opportunities. And it's been a great group. And hey, for working 40 years, it's got to be good.